Welcome to World News. Tonight, extreme dangers. First, the monster fire out of control. The images of an entire neighborhood, family after family, watching their homes burn down. And the heat wave tonight, a warning before this weekend. The chimp attack tonight, what we're learning about the young American studying the chimps when they turn on him. Unscripted, we all remember that jump on the couch, what we learned today about Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. And Hollywood hero, it was one of the darkest moments in American history. Tonight, the movie icon who fought back, inviting us into his Beverly Hills home for the real story. Who is our person of the week?
This is ABC World News with Diane Sawyer. Reporting tonight, David Muir.
Good evening on this Friday night, and we do begin here with an extraordinary image from space this evening. This is from the International Space Station, and those are clouds right there, and in fact, they're a giant wall of smoke as seen from the wildfires in Colorado, seen from space, in fact. In the meantime, we turn now to the gruesome headline out of South Africa this evening, where a young American grad student, a researcher from Texas, is fighting for his life after he was attacked by chimps and dragged a half a mile. The 26-year-old American was working at the famed Jane Goodall Institute, a sanctuary for chimps rescued from the wild just outside Johannesburg. Here's ABC's Bazi Kanani now.
He was interested in saving chimps from poachers.
I know you cover that part of the world, that institute, very prestigious. He had a dream, so we're all pulling for him tonight. Bazi, thanks. We're going to turn next to more promising news into the economy here tonight. The market's soaring today. American 401ks along for the ride. The Dow closing up nearly 280 points, the second biggest rally all year. We're told this was fueled by encouraging news out of Europe that they're going to pump money directly into those ailing banks. And from money gained to money lost, and that giant question that still looms for many American investors' families who lost millions because of Bernie Madoff. Tonight, another major development 3 years to the day since Bernie Madoff was sent to prison. Tonight, Madoff's younger brother, Peter, arrested for his role in the scheme. What was that role? Tonight, Brian Ross on that. And we also learned just how much of the millions stolen has now been paid back. And Brian's with us on the desk now. We were all surprised it's been 3 years since Bernie Madoff was sent away, and curious how much of the billions has been paid back to these investors.
Well, about 20 billion apparently disappeared, and they have recovered more than 9, so almost 50 cents on the dollar. And there'll be even more now with Peter Madoff, who's agreed to forfeit all his homes, including homes in Palm Beach and here on Park Avenue, and his Ferrari. That'll all go into the pot, be sold off, and money returned to the investors. Checks going out soon.
More money back than we thought when this broke years ago.
Right.
Brian Ross tonight, thanks very much. Now to another case we're following here, playing out in a Florida courtroom, the Trayvon Martin case. Tonight, 2 new developments to report. For the first time, we hear from George Zimmerman's father with his own version of what happened to his son. And the paramedics on the scene, we're finally hearing from them too. ABC's Matt Gutman back on the case for us again tonight. Matt Gutman, our thanks to you tonight. There is word this evening that the TSA has fired 8 federal air marshals, including a supervisor, for allegedly drinking alcohol during a training exercise, and 6 others have been suspended for failing to report it. None of them was scheduled to fly that day, but any alcohol consumption on the job is, of course, forbidden. The TSA says it has zero tolerance for misconduct in the workplace. We're going to turn now to that giant headline out of California tonight, a dramatic Hollywood ending for Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, the couple who shot onto the scene with that infamous jump on Oprah's couch, calling it quits. The object of fascination, and now word that Cruise may have been blindsided by the news. Here's ABC's David Wright. Our thanks to David tonight, and we do have an update here on a story we've been following closely here on World News. The bus monitor and the school children bullying her, all of it caught on tape.
Karen, you're fat. You're so fat.
It was painful for all of us to watch. The 4 boys have now been suspended from school for 1 year and banned from riding the bus. Each boy must perform 50 hours of community service with senior citizens and complete a bullying prevention program. There is still much more ahead here on World News this Friday night. The stunning moment that played out in an American courtroom. Watch as this multimillionaire, right there, the defendant, putting his hands to his face. What happens next shocks everyone in the courtroom. Courtrooms are often the scenes of high drama, but what followed one guilty verdict in Arizona shocked everyone inside that courtroom when the defendant put his hands to his face, and moments later, we warn you, it takes a very dark turn. Here's ABC's Ron Claiborne now.
It will be weeks before the official toxicology tests come back and we know for sure, David, what killed him.
Yeah,
very
stunning,
grim scene there.
Stunning mystery. And viewers should know that you protected them from the worst of the scene in that courtroom. Ron, thanks. When we come back here on the broadcast, do you know the song Rumor Has It? Well, tonight here, it is a rumor no more. What we have learned from Adele this evening. An Indiana mother who made sacrifice, heroic I should say, to protect her children from a tornado's fury, got a hero's welcome at the White House today. And Stephanie Decker threw herself on top of her children to shield them from the rain of debris. Today, Stephanie used her new prosthetic limbs to take a few steps in the Oval Office. There's a breakthrough tonight that could bring a little flavor back to some tomatoes out there. Plant breeders had made a genetic change to make tomatoes ripen evenly and turn a brilliant red. But it turns out that change also kept tomatoes from making sugar and tasting sweet. So now breeders are tinkering again to keep that bright red color and the flavor, or you could just eat tomatoes from your garden, which is what I prefer. Well, rumor has it Adele has something new to sing about. Actually, it's not a rumor anymore. The superstar has confirmed on her website she's now expecting her first child. A happy turn for Adele. When we come back here tonight, I sit down with a Hollywood icon, why he saved Hollywood from its darkest chapter, who is our person of the week. And finally tonight here, our person of the week, the famous actor who stepped forward during one of Hollywood's darkest hours when actors and writers were banned because of fear they were communists. Tonight we take you to the Beverly Hills home of the actor who broke down that blacklist. The year was 1960. Kirk Douglas in the leading role. But all these years later, it's the role he was secretly playing he's most proud of. Which is why Kirk Douglas invited us to his Beverly Hills home this week to reveal a story he's waited decades to tell. Douglas surviving that stroke a few years back, still going to speech therapy, and ready to talk.
David, I'm 95 years old.
You survived the helicopter crash? You survived the stroke?
God doesn't want me.
In the 1950s, Hollywood was consumed by the blacklist.
Have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
The hearings, the writers, the actors called before Congress amid fear they were communists. The mere mention of a name was enough to end a career.
It was the worst time in Hollywood.
Do you remember being silenced yourself by the fear?
Well, everybody told me I was crazy.
They told him he was crazy because not only as lead actor, he was producer of the movie, and he put his own career on the line, his own fortune, when he hired one of those writers on the blacklist, Dalton Trumbo, who'd been hiding in Hollywood and writing under an assumed name. Kirk Douglas' wife of 58 years remembers the warnings from so many others.
If you do it, you'll never work in this town again. You will be declared a communist.
But Douglas hired him anyway.
People said, Kirk, you won't work again.
You gave him credit.
Yes.
Putting that writer's real name in the opening credits. And when Spartacus became the top movie, the blacklist was broken. Became the #1 movie in the land.
Yes. That was 50 years ago. You were not born.
I wasn't, but I've done my reading. His trademark humor still every bit as sharp, showing me the family photos, the portrait of his famous son, actor Michael, and his family. But as Kirk Douglas reflects now, proudly 95, it's that brave move to celebrate a secret writer he returns to. What do you suppose that meant to him?
He was so grateful.
Grateful, and so many others were too. And so we choose Kirk Douglas tonight for the role he played all those years ago. For Diane and all of us here at ABC, good night. The Hollywood legend turning 100 today, Kirk Douglas in Spartacus, one of his most famous roles. We went to his home 5 years ago at 95.
I'm 95 years old.
You survived the helicopter crash? You survived the stroke?
God doesn't want me.
Making us laugh then, Douglas celebrating his birthday with a tea party with his wife in Beverly Hills. Happy birthday, Kirk.